Hi friends, welcome to this week's DFU. Today we are continuing with the 8th class in our Final Fantasy VII semester, and if this is your first one, please do not jump into the series here. You're going to be very confused, you're going to be very sad, and we're not going to help you. So please go back and watch the original episodes. I am your host and fellow student Kelsey. Teaching us today is the man who would happily make Cosmo Canyon his home, but only if they played the music on extremely loud all the time. So Chris...
Be great. It would be great.
I knew that would resonate with you. Chris, when we left off, you had just ripped my heart out in Cosmo Canyon, stomped on it a whole bunch, and left it sitting above a village filled with spears and arrows. So what happens next?
So we ended up leaving Cosmo Canyon. That definitely happened. That's pretty much the end, basically, on our way out. We get stopped by Nanaki, and he's like, hey, I'm coming with you. So we leave the village. We get to the buggy because the buggy's fixed and ready to go. So we're heading out. Next stop is a little bit of a blast from the past. That's right. We're going to Nibelheim. Woot woot. The home of Cloud.
That?
Nope. We went to a flashback when we were in Calm. We had a flashback about it. About how Sephiroth burned it down to the ground, killed everybody. Yep. So we're going to Nibelheim because it sounds like Sephiroth is heading north, and we're following after him. Boom, boom. Super pumped about that. I love Nibelheim. So, for those of you who don't remember, Nibelheim is where Cloud and Tifa both grew up together. Awesomes. Salsas. Exactly.
Cute.
And then once I get a chance here, I'll throw a nice little picture up there for you. But anyways, so we head into Nibelheim. And the first thing that we see is that the town is untouched. Nothing's burnt down. Everything looks exactly the way Cloud and Tifa left it before it burned down. And they're freaking the fuck out. Like, what the hell? The whole town's supposed to be burned down. What's going on? And depending on who you have in your party, you know, there's special dialogue. I strongly urge that you have Tifa in your party at this point. I always do Tifa and Nanaki, obviously. But yeah, I definitely urge you have Tifa in your party at this point. Because there's some special dialogue that goes around considering the fact that she's from here. So anyways, looking at Nibelheim, you can kind of see right there in the center of town, there's the water tower that Cloud and Tifa had that little date on. The far left.
It's a really exposed date.
Right.
That's not where I'd go for a date.
The center of town.
Where everyone can see you.
Right. So the house has got the gigantic pipes on the top of it to the right, like the little 6 cylinders coming up top. That's Tifa's house. And then the small one to the left is Cloud's house. And there's the inn. It's the far left, and then a couple random houses. And then all the way in the back there, the big-ass house all by itself, that's Shinra Mansion, where the president used to live a long time ago. It's been abandoned for a long time. Yes.
The president used to live in Nibelheim?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah,
why did
president,
he abandon
our
it?
mayor, some shit. I don't know. They don't really go into it. It's basically there. But as we've known from the flashbacks, in that basement is where Sephiroth discovered the books that told him about Project S, that led him to find out about Project Nova, which led him to find out about his true making. So obviously that's where they hid all their top secret experiments. Yeah. Anyways, so we get into Nibelheim. Like I said, they're all freaking out like, no, this is burned down. I swear I'm not lying, is what Cloud says. He's like, I remember the heat. I remember the flames around me. I remember all the dead people. So then they immediately start running to houses. You get to go to whichever one you want. You get to go to whichever one you want to first. I usually always go to Cloud's house because there's this random lady in there. And Cloud walks in there and he's all like, hey, who are you? And she's all like, what do you mean, who am I? You walked into my house. And he goes, this isn't your house. I've been living here since I was 14. Who are you? And then she's all like, nasty boy, how dare you spread lies like that? Get out of here. So like you basically get kicked out of every single house. But the weird part is that whenever you go into these houses, there are these men that are walking around all around Nibelheim. Here's actually a little small quick picture of them too. All around Nibelheim are some men walking around in black cloaks, and you don't really know who they are. All they keep saying is that the reunion is coming, Sephiroth, the reunion is coming, and that's all they keep saying. And there's probably like 2 to 3 of them in every single house in Nibelheim. There's some of them outside. They're just these black, mysterious, cloaked figures. And all of them have like a specific number tattooed on their hand. Which doesn't mean
that does not bode well.
Right. Which doesn't mean too much, honestly. But they just keep talking about the reunion, Sephiroth, and Genova. Which once again, whenever I go back and talk about that whole Final Fantasy Abridged series, this was actually a pretty fucking funny part in that show because they were just all like really loud about it. So Cloud walks in a room and all he hears is reunion, Genova, and he's all like, "Shut up!" It's so funny. Anyways, but yes. Great times. But yes, so you've got that whole thing going on there with this whole black cloaks figures and shit. So basically, it's time to get down to business. We need to figure out what the hell is going on here in Mount Nibel because right now, everybody we're talking to is telling us that the town never burned down. This whole Nibelheim destruction never happened 5 years ago, and people have been living there ever since then. Cloud is pretty much sure that these are people who are just paid by Shinra to be here to basically cover up the fact that it ever even happened. That Shinra basically rebuilt the town to make it look exactly like it did and hired a shit ton of people to basically just live here. Because because Sephiroth killed everybody. And obviously it makes sense that, he would want to limit, or Shinra would want to limit their exposure out like that. So it makes a lot of sense that they would go through and do that. Anyways, so moving on. We head to Shinra Mansion. There's a lot of strong, powerful enemies in here. So definitely make sure you save before you enter here and that you're up to snuff on your weapons and your armor and your materia. Because you are going to fight a very strong boss in here. Anyways, moving on. So once we get inside, there's multiple different ways to move around in the Shinra spot, but the main thing you want to do is go to the basement. Well, unfortunately, whenever you go to the basement, it's locked, so you can't get in now, which means you need a key. There is a safe to the top left that has some clues on where to find the actual combinations to open the safe. Sad part is I know those combinations by heart, so that's the sad part.
Oh my!
Yeah, I've done that many times.
Adorable.
But for people who want to figure out the clues themselves, I will not say the combination because I don't want to ruin it for you. Anyways, so that being said, so you go around, get the clues, come back, open a safe, and as soon as it opens, you get a key to the basement. A red summon materia pops out and falls to the left, which turns out to be the Odin summon materia, which is very strong. He is very fucking cool. He comes riding in on like a fucking 6-legged horse, and he's got this gigantic lance that he just throws up in the air, and it comes down, piercing through the fucking sky. Like it literally, like it looks up because whenever he comes out of this random portal, it's like raining and dark and misty, and then like he looks up in the air and just throws this lance. It's called Gunge Lance, I think. Goes straight up into the air, cuts straight through the clouds, and just makes all the rain and shit disappear. And then this just beam of light just beams down on the enemy, and the fucking lance just comes down and just shatters straight into him. It's so fucking cool.
That's really cool.
Badass. Yeah, Odin's badass. I like Odin. What's also actually cool is that in Smash Brothers, whenever you play on the Final Fantasy VII level, Midgar, it has materia flying in the background. It's always a summon materia, which is weird because they don't ever have the materia be red. But anyways, it's always summon materia, and one of the summons is Odin, and he throws a spear, and it comes down and it cuts the stage in half, and then the two halves of the stage just move away from each other, which is pretty cool. Anyways,
that is really cool.
Right. Anyways, so back at it. You get Odin, but a monster pops out. So this monster is another one of the Shinra experiments. His name it's like Lost, and it's a number. What was his fucking name? It's Lost something. Like I said, he's another one of the Shinra experiments. Let's see here. What was his stupid fucking name? Where's this dumb guy at? He's a pain in the ass to fight only because he's two halves. It's just lost number. It's not even actual number. Just lost number. Okay, anyways. It's a pain in the ass to fight due to the fact that he's in half, like two halves. So one half only takes physical damage and the other half takes magical. Like you can attack both the halves with physical. It just one does significantly less damage to it if you're fucking trying to attack the physical half with just physical damage. So you need to kind of switch it up a little bit. Although limit breakers seem to kind of still pummel through regardless. So if you get limit breakers and the physical half is still alive, feel free to just still pummel away. I think it's the purple half is physical and the red half is magical.
Why? Okay, would you say 2 pieces?
2 halves. This is our loss number. That's what he looks like. And whenever you beat out 1 half, then the entire body looks like whatever the other half that's still alive. So it just forms back in. So it's 2 halves, but it's one thing. Yes.
I was picturing something that was actually in 2 pieces, and it was much ickier. This I can survive. All right, continue.
Right. Anyways, so you fight loss number, kill him, get his ass out of there. He's really not that strong. You should be able to kill loss number at this point. So, like I say, he's not too hard of a boss. But anyways, so you beat him, and what's really cool is as soon as you beat him, you actually get Cosmo Memory. And what Cosmo Memory is that is Red 13's final limit break. You can't use it yet, but you get his final limit break here. So definitely make sure. I mean, I don't think there's a way you can miss it. You can miss the Oda materia. You need to pick it up. It falls out on the floor, so make sure you go and pick that up. But you can't miss the limit break. It automatically gives that to you at the end of the battle.
Cool.
So yes, you get Red 13's limit break here. So once we have the key, we are now on our way down to the basement. We unlock the basement. We start running down. But, and once again, alert everybody who at home is wanting to play this game. There's a door on the way to the basement. I'll be even more clear. You use the key to open a stone wall that leads you to a round set of stairs. You go all the way down the round set of stairs, and then you will come into a long, narrow pathway. You run all the way down that pathway, and you'll see a door on the left-hand side that you can't access. If you move into the next scene selection, it will then show that door a little bit better that you can access. This is where we get our new team member, Vincent. You have to go in here and talk to him before you advance any further into the basement. If you do not do this, you will not get Vincent. He will be missable. This is one of the 2 missable characters in the game. The other one we have not gotten to yet, and I will explain in great detail to make sure you don't miss that character either.
Yeah.
We open the door. And this is the last part that's also very important, is to make sure you go through all the dialogue you possibly can with Vincent until you make him say, just let me sleep like 10 times in a row, and he doesn't come out of his coffin. Then you've done all the dialogue you can. Get as much information as possible. Don't say stuff like good night or go back to sleep. You want to ask him who Sephiroth is. Make him talk about Sephiroth. You want to ask him what his name is, some of his backstory, da-da-da-da-da. Anyways. Once he's done with that, he'll say, let me sleep, let me sleep, let me sleep. Every time you go to talk to him, then you can officially move on. And as you're leaving the basement, he will stop you and join the party then. But we'll get to that in a second. Okay. Anyways, so we go in the room and you see some coffins that are open. They got bones in them, but there's this one big-ass coffin in the middle of the room, and it's got Vincent in it. So you go up and you touch the coffin. It looks like a brand new coffin. If the top flies off, and inside you see Vincent, and he just slowly sits up. Vincent's a very badass vampire-looking character. He is one of the top running characters for how cool he looks out of the Final Fantasy franchise. A lot of people really like him a lot.
He looks super badass.
Yeah, he's a beast. He actually is close to the top of the list for one of the most liked Final Fantasy characters out of the entire series, and he's only in this game, and he's got his own solo game too. But anyways, because he's that mysterious in this game, they gave him his own solo game. But just to show you that he's got some heart, Kelsey, I also have this picture. Little chibi Vincent, little Red 13.
Oh,
I know, right? I know, right?
It's cute.
Just warms your heart. I love this game.
It
does. So great. It's so great. But anyways, so back at it. Anyway, so you keep talking to him. So first, you could bring up Sephiroth, and he kind of goes on about Sephiroth for a little bit, not too much. He thinks it's like maybe 2 things. Then he's like, "You tell me about Sephiroth." And then the whole screen kind of turns red a little bit, and then it skips through to make you not have to relive the story for the 1,000th time. And then Cloud kind of tells him the rundown of Sephiroth, and then he's like, "All right, now your turn." And Vincent is total dick right here. He's like, "I can't tell you my story about Sephiroth. You telling me this is just let me know that I have another sin that I have to atone for, and now I'll have another nightmare that possesses me as I sleep. So then he just goes back into his coffin, and then the coffin closes back up over him. Yeah.
All right, I am sure he is badass enough to get away with melodramatic statements like that, but right now I don't know that, and that's just, God, that's over the top.
It is, but
now I have another demon.
Whenever you hear all the shit that he went through and stuff like that, you'll see.
No, I'm pretty sure I might, like, my heart's gonna break and I'm gonna be on his side, but at this point I'm like,
yes, exactly. You're all like, really, dude? So you try to get him to talk about Sephiroth, so then you wake him up again. You're all like, hey, at least tell us your name, where at this point it lets you name him. So I will say that part. Once you get past the naming him, you're pretty much done with the dialogue. So once you name Vincent, it's pretty safe to say he's going to be on your team after that. So you name him, and then after that, he pretty much just let me sleep. He won't open the coffin again. So then you leave, and you progress through the basement, and you find yourself back in the library. We were here once before, and that's where Sephiroth was walking back and forth, pacing back and forth, reading all these books about what was going on, and started to lose his fucking mind. Which, that's one of the things that we can kind of talk about a little bit. I really fucking love about this game is, like, Sephiroth wasn't a dick. He wasn't a bad guy. Like, he literally was, like, all cool with Cloud and chill with Cloud and understood that Cloud wanted to be in Soldier and this happy kid and was like, you know, I'll stick with me. I'll show you the ropes. And then it just took that one thing for him to be like, everything that was told to me was a lie. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God, what is actually considered to be my mother is something they're keeping as a test subject. Like, I mean, you kind of really can't blame Sephiroth sometimes. Like, sometimes I actually feel bad for Sephiroth. I really do. But at the same time, the stuff he does with Cloud, he's kind of a dick. So, and Cloud's my dude. So yeah, Cloud wins on that one. Sorry, Sephi.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sephi. Anyways, so we walk into the library. Sure enough, guess who's down there? Sephiroth. Yes, our first time seeing Sephiroth in the flesh the entire game. We have not seen Sephiroth once. The only other time we saw him was in the flashbacks. So it's our first time seeing Sephiroth. And Cloud's, regardless who you have in your party, Cloud's the only person that talks to him. But Cloud's like, Sephiroth. And Sephiroth asks him, he's like, so Cloud, are you going to join the reunion? Will you be attending? And Sephiroth's our Cloud's like, what do you mean the reunion? He's all like, the reunion for the Calamity. He's like, what do you mean Calamity? He's like, Jenova, the Calamity. And he's like, I thought you said that she was an ancient. And he's all like, obviously you don't know enough yet. You don't deserve to go. And he grabs this piece of destruct materia and throws it and hits Cloud, and it kind of like knocks him on one knee, and then Sephiroth just kind of like flies past him and takes off. And he goes, if you want to know more, I'll be heading north. And basically, it's where Sephiroth goes for the rest of the games, at the North Crater. But he's heading to the North Crater. That's where he's going next. So then Cloud kind of regroups with the party. They kind of talk about it a little bit. Nothing too much is said. Just, you know, what the hell's the reunion? What's going on? Now, Jenova's no longer an ancient, but she's the Calamity that fell from the skies now to them, which I already let the cat out of the bag on that one a long time ago when we were talking about it, but it wasn't that big of a difference. So now, I guess to say for sure, so you understand a little bit better, Jenova for sure was not an ancient. When she fell from the skies, I know I said that she cloaked herself to make her look like ancient. She started to kill the ancients with this like disease called geostigma, and they all started to die out. She was not an ancient.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they kind of regroup. You go to run out of the basement, and as you do, you hear wait, and then Vincent comes flying in, does this cool little front flip, and lands behind the party. Yeah, I know, it's great. It's great. I love it.
I'm doing eye rolls every time he shows up until he stops being a drama queen.
Just wait, it's gonna get good. Anyways, so he goes, if you continue down this path and I were to join you, would we end up running into Hojo? Now, I know you know who Hojo is. And why would Vincent care if we ran into Hojo? Cloud goes, I don't know, but either way, we're going after Sephiroth, and then we're going after Shinra, so I would have to think sooner or later we'll run into Hojo. And then Sephiroth goes, all right, Vincent goes, all right, I'll join. And then he says Lucrezia. So Lucrezia, we get a little bit of story here. Not too much. I don't want to dive into it too much. But Sephiroth's real mother is Lucrezia, not Jenova. What happened is that while Sephiroth was in Lucrezia's belly, he was injected with Genova cells. It was their first Genova cell experiment. So most of these people, like Cloud, were injected with Genova cells as they were already part of Shinra's army and adults, and were doing those Mako trainings. Sephiroth was given it to as a baby, which is why he's so much stronger than everybody else, and why he's able to do the things he can do.
Okay,
that's why
so
he has
affecting...
and that's why he has such a strong will and connection with Genova. Is because basically, so the way it's looked at it is technically he has two mothers, Genova and Lucrezia.
Okay.
Yes.
And do we know anything about Lucrezia?
Not at this point.
Okay.
Not at this point. We will. But basically, Vincent does ask Cloud. He's like, "You said you were in Soldier, right?" And he's like, "Yes." He's like, "Is Lucrezia, or have you seen Lucrezia?" And Cloud goes, "Sorry, that name doesn't ring a bell." So we know Vincent knows something about Lucrezia. We know Lucrezia is Sephiroth's mother, birth mother. So that's pretty much all the information we have about her now. What I would like to go ahead and say, though, is that this is another one of those situations where it's like we got the Red 13 arc. We're not necessarily getting the Vincent arc yet. That will happen. It's just not going to happen soon. I think actually the next character we pick up will be the next arc we get into. Yeah, because we deal with his shit for a little while, and then we move in to something else. It's really not that long of an arc. And then his is like a two-parter. So it's like a little bit here and then a little bit later on, because we end up going to that dude's hometown twice. Which at this point, there's only fucking two people left. So I've already kind of let the cat out of the bag with the gender. But Sid is the next character we get. Anyways. Which, surprise, it means Yuffie's the last. Anyways, moving on. So,
if I knew who they were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just for the people who are at home. It's like, oh my God, he's giving away fucking hints. Yes, Sid and Yuffie. All right. So,
oh, yeah, both of them are on my character list. Keep going.
There you go. Boom. I'm pretty sure I named out the entire team to you at the very beginning of this. So as we went through that first picture. Anyways, so yes, the next for everybody at home, next episode of Final Fantasy DFU, we will be doing Sid's story where we get Sid, and then the one after that, we will do the entire exploration of Wutai, which involves also Yuffie. So we will get the last two party members within the last two episodes of this run. It's not the last two episodes of the DFU series, but the next two episodes, I should say, of the Final Fantasy DFU will be those two characters. Anyways. Back to Vincent, or back to what I was saying. So we got the Red 13 arc, which was really, really cool. And I love the Red 13 arc, don't get me wrong. But Vincent's arc is so dark and so mysterious. And it ties into like almost everything that's went into play up to this point. And you just don't even know it yet. It's really fucking cool. I mean, this dude literally was so mysterious that he got his own video game to explore more of his backstory, just so that way people could understand who Vincent was, because they couldn't fit it all into the game. Because Vincent and Yuffie were not supposed to be in the game. And it was so close, because I've said plenty of times, it's just supposed to be Cloud, Barrett, and Aerith were supposed to be the only people in the game. And then they started developing Tifa, and they started developing Red 13, and Kate Sith, and Sid. And they had ideas for Yuffie and Vincent. But because it was so close to deadline, they were told they couldn't put them in the game unless they got full character models polished. And they barely got them polished before the game came out. So they were put in the game, and that's why they're the two missable characters. Because they don't technically actually have backstories. It's something that got polished in a little bit later. Which is really fucking cool. So that's why his stuff is this. Anyways, this is a tad bit of a spoiler for the movie, but it's not a big spoiler. There's a scene where the team shows up for the first time. And you've actually seen the scene in my AMV, but I'm not gonna point it out because I'm waiting for you to watch the movie. But there's there's a spot where the team shows up for the first time, and there's a kid that's standing there with Tifa, and you haven't met this kid yet. And whenever he sees the team show up, they all show up one by one. I think it's like Barrett, then Red 13 and Kate Sith, then Yuffie, then Sid, then Vincent. It's actually cool to me that Square Enix is this kind of company, but they put a little nod at the players who played the game and actually got these two missable characters. The kid says, "Who are they?" only when Yuffie shows up and then when Vincent shows up. But when everybody else shows up, he doesn't say anything at all. So like Barrett shows up, he says something to the kid, and then 13, Kate Sith run by, kid's completely fine. Then Yuffie shows up, he's like, "Oh, who is that?" And Tifa's just like, "That's Yuffie." And then like after that, it's like Sid shows up, it's like, "I gave his grand tour afterwards," and doesn't say anything. And all of a sudden, Vincent shows up, and he's like, "Who is that?" She's like, "He's our friend." I thought that was really really cool. A really funny nod for the people who are like, "Who the fuck are these characters?" We didn't even know they were part of the game. So yes, like I said, both those characters are extremely missable. We'll go into Yuffie at a later episode, basically 2 episodes from now. But she's missable. Vincent is missable, and Dylan on the channel actually went through and missed both Vincent and Yuffie on his first playthrough. And Vincent is his favorite character. Vincent is a lot easier to miss than Yuffie, though. If you literally, because once again, what people have to remember is that because how old Final Fantasy VII is, the backgrounds are hand painted in, so it is very easy to miss the door if you're not paying attention, and you'll just think it's a painted in background. It is actually an activatable background where you can go in the door. Plus, so
a lot of people missed him.
Yes, kind of where Sephiroth is based off the fact that he was there last time. So it's very easy to get excited to run straight past it and go straight to where Sephiroth's at, which is literally right on the way. So like I said, if you do not talk to him before you talk to Sephiroth, he will not activate, and you cannot open the door on the way back out. And that's your.
Can you imagine how frustrating that is for the people that developed Vincent and Yuffie, like whose pet project that was, where they're like, "Okay, we got everything. All right, well, we don't have time to put them into the game, so we're gonna put them behind this door, and a ton of players are never going to know them." And they're like, "Then why did I put all this effort in?"
Yep. And his last name is Valentine, by the way. I don't know if I said that, but Vincent Valentine.
It's Vincent Valentine?
Yeah.
For
Vincent Valentine.
Sake.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So at this point,
everything about this man is eye roll worthy.
It's
everything.
So he's so fucking cool, though. Oh my God. I can't wait to see him in action. He's so, especially in the movie. Oh my God. Vincent's so cool.
I believe you because I trust you, but again, I will believe it when I see it because good Lord Almighty.
But anyways, so back into it. I love it so much. He's so cool. But anyways, at this point, we've got Cloud Strife, just in case I missed anybody's last names. We got Cloud Strife. We've got Tifa Lockhart. We've got Red 13, also known as Nanaki. He doesn't have another name besides that. We've got Barrett Wallace. We've got Aerith Gainsborough. We've got Kate Sith. And now we have Vincent Valentine. Anyways, and some of their last names have to do with certain things. Vincent's does not. They kind of make it play off of like his whole like lost love type deal, which we'll get into a little bit later. So
of
maybe
course he has a lost love for crying.
But like Sid's, what's really interesting about Sid, because I don't want to get into his last name too much now, but what's really interesting about Sid is that there has actually been a character named Sid in every Final Fantasy so far, which is actually pretty cool. I don't know why they like the name Sid so much, but there's been, even if he's just an NPC, it's not always a playable character, but even if it's just an NPC, there's been a Sid in every Final Fantasy, and there's some people trying to say that you can link them all together. I don't think that's possible since the worlds don't collide at all, like ever. There's only been like one small chance that worlds could collide, and I think it's like at the end of Final Fantasy X, where there's like this pilot, and he's talking about how his like great uncle or some shit like that used to work at a company that was trying to make clean energy, but what they didn't notice is that they were killing the planet. So everybody's like, "Oh my God, he's talking about Shinra," but it was never confirmed. So as it stands right now, none of these Final Fantasies even come close to touching each other, besides the ones that are literally within the same realm, like Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, Final Fantasy Dirge Cerberus, Before Crisis, all that, Advent Children, all that's in the same realm. So
from what I can find in a very, very brief Google search is there isn't any deep meaning to it. We just wanted to make a character that would appear in various forms in all the games. Sid's become basically a trademark along with Chocobos, and I'm not even going to try to say that word because I'm probably going to destroy it and piss people off. Like, starts with an M.
Starts with an Oh, you're talking about the Mogul?
Yeah. I would have said Moogle, so
yeah, it might even be Moogle. Who fucking knows?
It's got two O's.
Yeah, Moogle. There we go. We'll go Moogle. Boom. The little Moogle. I actually like those. I don't know if I said this or not, but in the Final Fantasy Dissidia game, a Moogle talks to you. and he says that they call you Kupo, Kupo, and my nickname is Koopa. So every time it's all like, "Good battle, Kupo," I'm like, "Yeah." I love it. It's great. Those little guys. But that was the little white thing with the red ball on its head. That's what I showed you a long time ago. That's what those are. The Moogles. That's also technically a fat version of what Kate sits on. It's also a fat Moogle. So his little fat companion. Yeah. That's what that is.
That is much funnier now.
Right? Little Moogle.
Yeah. I have seen this image so many times.
Yeah,
okay.
In Kingdom Hearts. It's in Final Fantasy. It's been in a couple different Square Enix games, actually. But it originates from Final Fantasy.
Mugs. Yep. I've seen it on everything, and I just didn't know what it was. Yep. Okay, cool.
I would literally be surprised if you've never seen like a Chocobo somewhere before now, too. I mean, they're pretty fucking iconic. So, those and the Cactars. The Cactars, too. The little cactus enemies. Those are the other little pet of Final Fantasy. The little Cactar guys.
Oh, you showed me the Cactars, and I thought they were cute.
Mm-hmm. Which is actually kind of cool because that first class, which, by the way, if I have not said this yet, I don't know. But for people who don't know, I'm getting fucking first class. Already pre-ordered it. Anyways, first class, if you buy that edition, you get 3 special DLCs, and they're like grown up, like, I wouldn't say demonic, but they definitely look meaner-like versions of all 3 of those characters. The Cactar, the Moogle, and the Chocobo. So I'll have to show you that picture again. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyways, back to what we were talking about. So that's all the characters. So Vincent joins the party, and then you kind of just like leave Nibelheim in the kind of mess that it is, because Cloud and them understand, like, yeah, we want to kind of figure out what's going on, but we have to stop Sephiroth. We have to figure out what this reunion is. We have to stop this reunion. We need to go to Sephiroth now. So you head towards Mount Nibel, go into Mount Nibel. You fight this enemy called the Materia Keeper, which is kind of a pain in the ass. I strongly recommend for anybody playing at home, I think it's a 5 or 6 tube sequence when you get in there, a little system that you can go down the tubes. Do not go down any tubes until you first find out how to get to the lower ladder. There's a lower ladder that literally you have to go down and kick so it falls down to the bottom, so you can make your way back up to the top after you go down a tube. If you jump down a tube right away, you're going to not be able to get back to the top. And then you won't be able to go to the other tubes. Some of them lead to good items like weapons and shit like that. Also, you fight a green dragon in this area as a random enemy. Try to fight it multiple times for every person in your party, and use steel materia, and you can steal the gold armlet from this dragon, which is a very good piece of armor to have at this point. I highly recommend doing that before you fight Materia Keeper, which you'll see Materia Keeper is not a random encounter. It's this big-ass green fucking insect-looking thing down at the bottom of the screen whenever you get in there. So whenever you walk up, fight him, kill him, and then he drops the counter materia, which is extremely useful. Use it right away. Basically lets you counterattack every time you get attacked, especially once you get to the higher levels of it. It's almost every single time you get attacked, you counterattack. And then it doesn't use up your turn at all. So you get an extra attack every single time. Also,
nice.
Yep. Also, you can mix counter with shit. But the best part is if you start using it now, you'll get XP on it. And whenever you master it, it will birth another one. And you can put that on another character. And then that will master it, birth another one, and put it on the other character. So like right now, my main team, Cloud, Tifa, and Nanaki all have a mastered counter strike on them. So anytime they get hit, all 3 of them fuck attack back. So definitely useful. It's going to help you out so much late game whenever you're fighting bosses that can literally kill you in one hit. So it's nice to survive, get 3 full hits on them, and then turn around and also do a shit ton of damage with your normal turns as well. Especially if you need to use one of those characters as a healer. So at least that way you got 5 chances to attack versus just 2 chances to attack. So, boom. Anyways. So we make it out past the Materia Keeper, up into the mountains, down past the mountains, and out the ass end, back to the world map. And we are heading to our next destination, Rocket Town, where we will meet our next member of the team, Sid, on the next episode of DFU.
I should just let you let that be the outro.
Fucking sound like Dragon Ball Z. Find out what happens next time on the next week's episode of Dead Funny University.
Bye, friends.
But we can't end right there. Because you got to pick character. And you've got Vincent to pick now. Oh, yes!
God. Tell me everything about Mr. Melodramatic.
So, Vincent, I think we can kind of get into his love relationship because it doesn't really hinder anything. Basically, let's say this. I'll try to be somewhat cryptic, but I think it's fair to go ahead and say this because like they don't really explain it too well in the game until you find her. But the reason why he asked about Lucrezia is because he was in love with Lucrezia.
I was gonna guess.
I will start off by saying no, Sephiroth is not his son. I will say that. He was in love with Lucrezia. Nothing ever happened between them. Something happens, and it's whenever. Well, I kind of already told you that the project was going on. Fuck it. I think we can say this. So, no, I cannot say that one part. Ho ho ho! I almost fucked up. So, I can say this.
Think through this for just a minute. I can wait.
I'm fine. Okay, so that part I can't say, but. Something goes to, or this project with the whole Genova cells goes to happen with Lucrezia. Vincent is obviously against it because she could die from this. He goes to try to stop it. Somebody, can't name them, kills Vincent and decides to use him as a test subject.
They kill him?
They killed him and decided to use him as a test subject.
Eep.
And by test subject is they wanted to not only see, they know what Mako energy does whenever it's introduced to a body. Now they want to know what materia does when it's introduced to a body. So they stuff materia inside of him, and this materia is a one-of-a-kind materia called the Chaos Materia. Vincent then actually wakes up like nothing ever happened. And this is where everybody calls him a vampire. He's not actually a vampire. It's the chaos materia that's keeping him alive at this point. Vincent's limit breakers allow him to transform into different beasts. The one thing that I will say that does suck about these is that they do elemental damage. So if you're going against an enemy that has elemental damage, because basically Vincent's is the only one that doesn't end. You pop Vincent's limit breaker, it's there until the battle is over. He stays in that form. So if you're going up against that element that transformation does, you're literally healing the enemy every single time you attack.
Oh.
So you have to be very strategic about when you want to pop limits or Vincent's limit breaker, and you know who you're actually fighting against, understanding the enemies in the surrounding area while you're fighting them. Anyways, so there's the Gillian Beast. That's the first transformation.
That's cool.
Right. Then we have it's Giga something. I can't remember this fucking one's name. He basically just looks like fucking Frankenstein. But yeah, so here's the Giga Beast. Or I think it's just called, I don't know. Hold on. I fucking got the goddamn strategy guide right here, Chris. Come on. Get your shit together.
I mean, one day you'll remember to use tools, but we're waiting. That's an important developmental step. One day you'll hit it.
One day. It's just not today.
It's just not today.
Okay, so the first one is the Galleon Beast. The second one is called Death Gigas, is the name of this one.
Death Gigas.
Yeah, Death Gigas.
Oh, God, even these eye rolls.
So,
eye rolls everywhere. Oh my
Death
God.
Gigas. Yeah. Actually, I dislike this next one more than I actually dislike that one, because this one just looks so dumb. Oh man, they really weren't trying with his transformations. That's why I can't wait to see what they do in the remake with his transformations, because they've got to look better than this. The next one is called Hellmasker, and tell me what this fucking looks like to you.
Oh, for the love of God.
Yes, that is Hellmasker. And then the last one is just called Chaos. And that's his final form.
No.
That's Chaos.
All right, Chaos is cool.
You think that. But this is Chaos. And this, God, I hope they use this one in the remake. This is, so Vincent got his own video game, which came out way later, so it had way better graphics. This is Chaos and Vincent's own video game. That
is way cooler.
Is wicked as fuck. You see how they did his fucking scarf into his hair and shit too? With that transformation?
Cool.
Right?
Yeah.
He looks cool as shit. Vincent's a badass character.
Way cooler.
You will learn to love Vincent. It will happen, I promise. It just takes a minute. But yes.
Well, right now, there aren't words for how much I hate Death Gigas and Hellmasker, because the fuck.
It literally says for every Final Fantasy person that played the game once and then starts talking about Vincent's transformations and tries to remember them, this is what they always say, which is pretty fucking. This is actually pretty fucking funny. So, Purple Beast, Frankenstein, horror movie guy, and Satan. Because the last one special move is called Satan Slam. It literally is called Satan Slam. So.
Jesus, they just copy pasted. Oh my god.
It's pretty funny.
Because Frankenstein to me looks like the Hulk. The Death Gigas.
Yeah, Death Gigas
looks exactly like the Hulk taken from like the Thor Ragnarok movie. They just threw a little bit of gladiator, like they threw a gladiator helmet on him.
I can see that.
Purple Beast, Frankenstein, horror movie guy, and Satan. Oh my god.
But that fucking chaos from this fucking new game is so fucking cool.
Looks
he
badass.
Looks so badass. I love chaos. He looks so
got
fucking
some
cool.
rockin' sandals. I'm pretty sure he's wearing socks with those sandals, but
no, it's not sandals. Like that's like literally black boots, and then it's those the metal guarding around it. I'm trying to find like a more close up picture of him right now. But no, it's not sandals. It's definitely boots.
Looks like little cloth white sandals. Like he got some ballet slippers and some sandals and just kind of morphed them into one shoe.
No,
I believe you.
No.
You sound slightly offended.
A little bit. I'm a tad bit offended. Yes. Anyways, but moving on because we're getting ready to wrap up here. So yeah. He comes back to life with the chaos materia, and that pretty much is kind of like what's running his whole thing. So he's actually lived probably a little bit longer than he should have. He's not like ancient or anything. He definitely is older than the group. I can't remember how much older he is. But because he was like probably Cloud or Tifa's age when all this happened, and it doesn't look like he's aged at all whenever they wake him up.
Okay.
But once again, he would probably be well, if he died whenever Lucrezia was pregnant with Sephiroth, then Sephiroth being older than Cloud is like, let's say Cloud's 21, Sephiroth's probably like 28, so there you go, 28 years he's kind of just been in this fucking hibernation state, if you will.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yes, everybody calls Vincent the vampire guy. He's not a vampire. For those of you, who also still call him the vampire guy, he's not. It's just chaos. It's just ultimate chaos. And it's supposed to be the cool part is like whenever he takes so much damage and his limp breaker gets up there, it's like him letting chaos go and just take over, which is pretty cool. So, which we get a lot more in his own game, which is so fucking cool. Oh my god. His game's
still eye rolling. I'm sorry.
We'll get there.
Eye rolling.
We'll get there.
He's still just a dramatic little bitch.
We will get there, I promise. And then you'll be like, you know what? Vincent's pretty fucking cool.
All right. Well, I'm glad to know that I will have a change of heart.
Right. But anyways, so that pretty much wraps up, I think, about the majority of what I can talk about Vincent for now.
Okay. All right, friends. Well, that will wrap up our 8th class on this Final Fantasy semester. If you heard anything you disagree with, if you want to talk more with us, if you have your own nicknames for these awful transformations, throw those in the comments below. We would love to interact with you there. Chris is always interested in arguing with you or laughing with if you say something stupid, but he may not laugh at your face. If you enjoyed this content, please like this video, subscribe to our channel internal notifications so you know when to come to class. And if you want to contact us directly, our Twitch links and our Twitter links are below. But in the meantime, we will see you in the next class. Bye, friends.